God rest him wherever he is. I know that his wife is working out some sort of an agreement now with the University of Texas.
Linda Moulton Howe is well known for making controversial claims, but this time her revelation about Antarctica's ice has left the world stunned. According to Linda, some experts who had direct contact with Antarctica shared this information with her and specifically asked her to make it public. With these new findings, many of the long-standing controversies surrounding Antarctica are being challenged. But what exactly did Linda reveal, and how does it differ from what we thought we knew about the frozen continent? Join us as we uncover what Linda Moulton Howe claims was seen in Antarctica, what U.S. Navy engineers saw in Antarctica. Linda Moulton Howe is now telling the world what a retired U.S. Navy engineer reportedly told her decades ago. According to her, the engineer who allegedly made an emergency landing in Antarctica reached out to her before he died. Based on Linda's account, it wasn't just this engineer who contacted her. She says that over a span of 29 years, other witnesses, including military personnel, scientists, and government contractors also reached out to her. What amazed her most was that many of them described similar discoveries hidden beneath the Antarctic ice. But what exactly is this discovery they all claim to have seen beneath the ice? Stay tuned, because we're about to reveal what no one has told you about Antarctica's frozen depths. Based on the accounts shared by Linda Moulton Howe, the frozen continent at the bottom of the world has quietly revealed a series of discoveries that sound almost unreal when placed side by side. One of the most striking discoveries involves massive empty spaces beneath the ice itself. In recent years, researchers studying the massive Thwaites Glacier uncovered a gigantic cavity growing beneath the glacier. Satellite measurements and radar scans revealed that the hollow space is almost 300 meters tall, roughly the height of a skyscraper and large enough to contain about 14 billion tons of ice. Scientists believe the cavity formed as warm ocean water slowly melted the glacier from below. When these measurements first appeared in scientific reports around 2019, they shocked many researchers because they showed that the ice sheet was not solid and stable as once believed. Instead, it hid enormous tunnels that were constantly changing as the ice shifted and melted. Also, beneath Antarctica's ice lies an entire hidden landscape that remained untouched for tens of millions of years. Using ice-penetrating radar and satellite imaging, scientists mapped ancient valleys, river channels, and mountain ranges buried under layers of frozen ice, sometimes more than 2 miles thick. In East Antarctica, researchers discovered a preserved landscape estimated to be about 34 million years old. The mountains and valleys there appear almost frozen in time, as if the continent suddenly locked them beneath ice long ago. Some scientists describe it as a prehistoric world sealed beneath a frozen lid. But the surprises did not stop there. Another layer of mystery comes from the discovery of hidden lakes under the ice sheet. More than 400 subglacial lakes have now been identified across Antarctica, and at least 85 of them are considered active. These lakes fill and drain through underground channels, forming a hidden network of rivers beneath the ice. One of the most famous is Lake Vostok, which lies beneath nearly 4 kilometers of ice. Russian scientists first identified the lake in the 1990s using radar data. When researchers drilled close to its surface years later, they found evidence suggesting that the lake had been sealed off from the outside world for perhaps 15 million years. The possibility that unknown microbial life could exist in such a dark, isolated environment added to the sense that Antarctica still holds biological secrets yet to be fully understood. Then there are the strange shapes and structures sometimes seen beneath the ice. Shelves. Remotely operated underwater vehicles have been sent beneath floating ice shelves to explore cavities carved by ocean currents. In several cases, the robotic cameras revealed vast caverns with undulating ceilings and ridges. One set of formations looked so unusual that researchers compared them to the inside of a giant loaf of bread, with curved surfaces and layered patterns shaped by melting and flowing water. These spaces appear alien at first glance, but scientists explain that they are natural formations created by warm ocean water, slowly sculpting the underside of the ice. Confusion often arises when satellite images show unusual geometric shapes beneath the ice. A recent example involved the Dotson Ice Shelf, where researchers mapping the region in 2024 detected long ribbon-like structures stretching hundreds of meters under the ice. At first, the shapes looked strangely regular. Closer study revealed they were carved by swirling currents of warm water moving beneath the shelf. These currents form spiral patterns, known in oceanography as Ekman spirals, which slowly carve ridges and channels into the ice above them. Another category of discovery involves deep drilling projects that extract ice cores from the Antarctic ice sheet. These long cylinders of ice contain tiny bubbles of ancient air trapped thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years ago. By studying these bubbles, scientists can reconstruct Earth's climate history. Some of the deepest ice cores drilled in Antarctica stretch back more than 800,000 years. They provide evidence of past ice ages, atmospheric carbon dioxide levels, and global temperature changes over vast stretches of time. Drilling projects have also uncovered something even more surprising. In 2016, researchers drilling about 523 meters beneath the seafloor in West Antarctica recovered sediments containing microscopic marine fossils and shells. These fossils revealed that around 23 million years ago, the region that is now buried under ice was once an open ocean filled with marine life. The findings confirmed that Antarctica was not always the frozen desert it is today, but once had a much warmer climate. The fossil record across the continent supports this idea. Paleontologists working in exposed rock layers have discovered fossils of dinosaurs, giant birds known as terror birds, and even ancient forests. Fossilized tree trunks and leaves show that parts of Antarctica once supported dense vegetation millions of years ago when the continent was located farther north and the global climate was warmer. These discoveries transformed the scientific understanding of Antarctica's past, revealing that it was once a thriving ecosystem. Modern expeditions rely on advanced scientific equipment designed to explore environments humans cannot easily reach. Autonomous underwater vehicles travel beneath ice shelves mapping hidden terrain. Ice-penetrating radar systems mounted on aircraft scan through miles of ice to detect lakes, mountains, and buried valleys. Sophisticated drilling rigs extract ice cores that preserve ancient climate data. Occasionally, researchers detect unusual signals coming from deep within the ice. Some of these signals were picked up by instruments designed to study high-energy particles, known as neutrinos. One such experiment is the IceCube Neutrino Observatory, a vast array of sensors embedded deep within Antarctic ice near the South Pole. The detectors watch for flashes of light produced when neutrinos interact with the ice. In a few cases, signals appeared to come from unexpected directions, creating temporary puzzles for scientists. While intriguing, these signals are generally explained as unusual particle interactions or radio wave propagation effects, rather than evidence of hidden technology. Antarctica also preserves artifacts from the earliest human explorers who braved the continent during what historians call the heroic age of Antarctic exploration. Around the early 1990s, expeditions led by explorers such as Ernest Shackleton and Robert Falcon Scott established small huts along the coast. When these expeditions ended, many items were left behind: food tins, clothing, sledges, scientific tools, and personal belongings. The extreme cold preserved them almost perfectly for more than a century. Today, the Antarctic Heritage Trust carefully protects and restores these historic sites, treating them as time capsules from the earliest days of polar exploration. Certain natural formations have also fueled speculation. In the Ellsworth Mountains, several peaks have sharp, pyramid-like shapes that appear striking when seen in satellite images. Some observers once wondered if these shapes might be ancient structures buried in the ice. Another strange sight appears at a place called Blood Falls. Here, a deep red liquid flows out of the ice at the end of a glacier. At first glance, it looks almost like blood spilling onto the snow. Scientists eventually discovered that the red color comes from iron-rich water that oxidizes when it reaches the air. The water originates from a hidden saltwater reservoir beneath the glacier, where unique microbes survive in total darkness without oxygen. The discovery of this ecosystem showed that life can survive in conditions once thought impossible. But aside from these mind-blowing discoveries that Linda Moulton Howe claimed the men revealed to her, there are also many myths surrounding Antarctica. These include religious, cultural, and geographical myths. Let's find out about these myths. the truth about the myths of Antarctica. Beyond the strange discoveries buried beneath the Antarctic ice, another layer of the story began to circulate over the years, one filled with rumors and conspiracy theories. In conversations surrounding Antarctica, these stories often appeared alongside scientific findings, making it difficult for ordinary people to separate fact from myth. One of the most persistent stories revolves around the idea of secret Nazi bases hidden somewhere beneath the Antarctic ice. The story usually begins with a real historical expedition. In 1938 and 1939, Nazi Germany sent a research mission to a region of Antarctica known as Neuschwabenland. The purpose of the expedition was largely economic. Germany wanted to explore whaling areas and possibly claim territory for future use. Aircraft from the expedition even dropped markers with swastikas over large areas of ice to symbolically claim the region. From this real event, rumors grew over the decades, suggesting that the Nazis secretly built a hidden underground fortress called New Berchtesgaden. According to the conspiracy version, high-ranking officials escaped there near the end of World War. But historical records and scientific surveys of the region have never found any evidence of such a base. The expedition itself lasted only a few weeks before the ships returned to Germany. Another myth claims that a hidden civilization exists somewhere beneath Antarctica's thick ice sheet. In many versions of the story, the continent is said to hide a temperate or tropical environment deep below the surface, sometimes linked to the legendary lost city of Atlantis or to extraterrestrial beings. These stories gained traction as satellite imagery began revealing vast underground lakes and mountain ranges beneath the ice. To some people, the idea of an unseen world beneath Antarctica sounded like proof of hidden civilizations. In reality, the environments under the ice are extremely cold, dark, and under immense pressure. Scientific drilling and radar studies show that these subglacial spaces are mostly filled with ice, water, rock, and microbial life, not advanced cities. Images circulating online have also fueled the belief that pyramids exist in Antarctica. Satellite photos showing sharp, pyramid-shaped peaks led some observers to claim that ancient humans must have built them. These peaks are known as nunataks, mountains that stick out above the surrounding glaciers. Wind, ice erosion, and geological forces shape them into sharp angles over millions of years. The result can look surprisingly similar to man-made pyramids when viewed from certain angles, especially in satellite images. But when scientists examine these formations closely, they show the same natural rock structures seen in mountain ranges around the world. Another unusual claim from flat Earth communities is even more shocking. According to that theory, Antarctica is not a continent at all, but a massive ice wall surrounding the outer edge of the Earth. In this view, the ice wall supposedly keeps the oceans from spilling off the flat surface of the planet. The claim gained attention online because Antarctica is remote and difficult for most people to visit. However, the idea collapses when confronted with the vast amount of data collected by satellites, aircraft, surveys, and international research stations. These measurements clearly show Antarctica as a continent roughly the size of the United States and Mexico combined. Stories about the secret diary of Admiral Richard Byrd have also fueled speculation. Byrd was one of the most famous polar explorers of the 20th century and led several American expeditions to Antarctica in the 1920s, 1930s, and 1940s. A document often referred to as his secret diary began circulating decades later, claiming that he discovered a hidden warm land during a 1947 flight. In that account, the explorer supposedly encountered giant mammoths and advanced cities hidden beyond the ice. Historians and researchers who examined the document concluded that it was not authentic. The real records of Byrd's expeditions show that his missions focused on aerial mapping and scientific observation rather than secret discoveries. Cultural myths also emerged from sailors and internet folklore. One of the strangest is the legend of the Ningen. The story first appeared on Japanese internet forums in the early 2000s. According to the tale, fishermen and researchers in Antarctic waters spotted a giant white creature resembling a humanoid whale. The creature supposedly had arms, legs, and a smooth white body that blended into the icy water. Some claimed it could grow over 20 meters long. Despite the dramatic descriptions, no credible scientific evidence has ever confirmed the existence of such a creature. Most researchers believe the sightings were likely misidentified whales, ice formations, or simply fictional stories shared online. Another phenomenon associated with Antarctica comes from the psychological experiences of early explorers. During extreme journeys across the ice, several explorers reported sensing the presence of an unseen companion walking with them. One of the most famous examples came from Ernest Shackleton during his 1916 expedition, after the loss of his ship Endurance. Shackleton and two companions trekked across the mountains of South Georgia Island in brutal conditions. All three later described feeling as though a fourth person was traveling alongside them. Psychologists now call this experience the third man phenomenon. It is believed to occur during moments of extreme stress and isolation when the brain creates a comforting sense of companionship. Some stories are more clearly fabricated. In 2012, a sensational report claimed that Russian scientists studying a deep Antarctic lake had discovered a dangerous shape-shifting creature, nicknamed Organism 46b. The creature was described as a giant intelligent octopus capable of paralyzing humans. Many people imagine the continent as a flat, frozen plain, stretching endlessly in every direction. In reality, Antarctica is the highest continent on Earth. Its average elevation exceeds 2,000 meters above sea level because the massive ice sheet sits on top of mountainous terrain. Beneath the ice are enormous mountain ranges, deep valleys, and even volcanic systems. But even with all the discoveries and stories surrounding Antarctica, many people still question the claims made by Linda Moulton Howe about the frozen continent. Critics often point out that she has been known to present claims that are difficult to verify. So what exactly has she said in the past that continues to spark debate today? Let's take a short walk through some of the claims she has made over the years. Stay tuned. Linda Moulton Howe's most shocking claims. Linda Moulton Howe is not new to making controversial claims. For decades, the investigative journalist turned UFO researcher has built a reputation around stories involving extraterrestrials, secret government programs, and unexplained phenomena. Her supporters say she is simply reporting what witnesses and insiders have told her. Over the years, several of her most well-known claims have been closely examined by scientists, investigators, and even some of the very people who originally provided her with information. One of the earliest stories that pushed Howe into the center of the UFO discussion involved mysterious animal deaths in the American West. In 1980, she released a documentary titled A Strange Harvest, which explored reports of cattle being found dead with unusual injuries. Ranchers described disturbing scenes where animals appeared to have clean cuts, missing organs, and almost no blood at the site. Howe suggested that the strange pattern pointed to the possibility of extraterrestrial involvement, proposing that aliens might be collecting biological samples from animals on Earth. At the time, the story captured national attention because similar cases had been reported in several states. However, when veterinarians and law enforcement investigators studied these incidents more carefully, they found explanations that did not involve extraterrestrials. Animal. Experts explain that when a carcass decomposes, natural processes can create the illusion of surgical cuts. Scavengers such as coyotes, vultures, and insects often target soft tissue areas first, which can leave behind shapes that look oddly precise. Blood can also settle inside the body after death, making it seem as if the animal was drained. Investigations carried out by agricultural departments and federal agencies during the late 1970s concluded that most of these cases could be explained by natural causes and predator activity. That early documentary opened the door to another claim Howe would repeat for years: the belief that governments know about extraterrestrial contact and are hiding it from the public. She has long argued that the United States government is secretly working with alien civilizations or studying alien technology. According to her account, this belief was strengthened in 1983 when she was shown classified documents by U.S. Air Force officer Richard Doty. The documents allegedly described secret communication between the military and extraterrestrial beings. Howe believed this information confirmed that authorities were covering up alien contact. But the story took an unexpected turn years later when Doty publicly admitted that the documents were fabricated. He explained that during the Cold War, intelligence officials sometimes spread false information to UFO researchers as part of disinformation campaigns. These tactics were meant to distract attention from classified military projects or simply create confusion among civilian investigators. Doty's admission that he had provided bad information to Howe seriously damaged the credibility of the documents she had relied on as proof of government-alien collaboration. But that is not all. Another topic Howe frequently discusses involves crop circles and strange lights that appear in photographs of them. Crop circles are large patterns formed when sections of crops are flattened in fields, especially in parts of England. Howe has argued that certain photos of these formations show evidence of visible light energy, which she believes could indicate advanced technology used by extraterrestrials to create the shapes. Some images appear to show glowing streaks or bright orbs hovering over the formations. However, photography specialists and skeptical investigators have pointed out that these lights often match well-known camera effects. Another major idea Howe has promoted is the claim that modern humans might have been genetically engineered by extraterrestrial civilizations. According to this theory, ancient alien visitors altered early human DNA thousands of years ago, guiding the development of modern humanity. In this scenario, Homo sapiens would not be purely the result of natural evolution, but partly the product of advanced alien science. While the idea sounds dramatic, the scientific evidence about human origins points in a very different direction. Genetic research over the past few decades has mapped large portions of the human genome and compared it with the DNA of other primates. These studies reveal clear evolutionary connections between humans and species, such as chimpanzees and gorillas. Fossil discoveries also support this gradual evolutionary process, showing a long chain of human ancestors developing over millions of years. No credible genetic markers suggest outside intervention from extraterrestrial civilizations. Even with these criticisms, Howe continues to draw attention from audiences interested in unexplained mysteries. Her storytelling style often focuses on witnesses, secret documents, and dramatic possibilities, which can make the subject feel like an unfolding investigation. What other stories have you heard about Antarctica's ice? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, click on the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it.